this is something you probably have already seen, especially here on the Military Arms channel. This is the Desert Tech MDR. Now our friend Grand Thumb did some unspeakable things to a rifle like this one, threw it in a frozen creek and beat it up and did his thing to it, and it failed miserably, and quite honestly, I wasn't surprised. Now, this rifle is a gun that I've been interested in since they first announced it. And over at Copper Custom, Copper's been a Desert Tech bolt action dealer for a while, so Copper was looking forward to getting the rifles in as well. So I got this rifle pretty early on, so this would be considered a first generation rifle. If you go way back in the Military Arms channel videos, you'll see that I was actually invited out to Desert Tech years ago and got to shoot, I think, the 4th prototype, which still had 3D printed parts like the stock and stuff like that, and the gun just barely ran, but it was a rough prototype with 3D printed parts. So when I first got this rifle, I had the intent of using it as a hunting rifle. Now, here's where I have a problem with Desert Tech's marketing. If you follow them on Instagram, they got this exoskeleton suit with this RoboCop looking dude running around acting like he's on a modern battlefield using one of these rifles. I'm gonna tell you guys straight up right now, this rifle is not intended for that. I've had this conversation with Desert Tech. This rifle has one key selling point, at least to me, maybe two. This gun has an 18-inch barrel and it is a 308. Now I'm currently trying to get a 6.5 Creedmoor barrel without much luck yet, but I'm gonna be hopeful that I can get one. It's not coming from Desert Tech, it's coming from a third party. But once this thing gets converted to 6.5 Creedmoor, I'm really going to love it. Now this is an early generation gun, and I'm not immune to all the problems people were reporting with their firearms out there. I can only talk about stuff that happens to my guns here on this channel, and ironically, the guy known for breaking everything, I didn't break this rifle. But this rifle, I didn't take it out and beat it on trees and throw it in ponds because I knew from that early prototype, and I had this conversation with them back then, that its scissoring bolt mechanism probably wasn't gonna fare real well in hostile environments, military environments. So I was looking for this gun to be a hunting rifle. Nice short package in a 308, which I'm not all that hot on anymore. I'm a big 6.5 Creedmoor fan. This thing, a 6.5 Creedmoor, would be my deer rifle of choice from now until eternity, unless somebody built a better mousetrap. Now, again, the guy known for breaking everything, I didn't break this gun, but I wasn't doing crazy things to it. I was just taking it out, shooting it. I actually had one of the early generation OSS cans, which in some early Instagram photos, and I think even some video, I had covered in tape so you guys couldn't see it because I couldn't show you guys the silencer. I was helping OSS test it. So I had that on this gun. I also had this extended handguard on here. So they made some changes to the gun after the infamous Grand Thumb video where the gun really had a hard time. And he brought up some very valid points. And I also think he perhaps got a lemon because I didn't. My rifle works, but a lot of people did get lemons. I read the forums and I see all the conversations out there, and people kept saying, hey Mac, why don't you tell us what's really going on with the MDR? What was really going on with it is we were hunting down in Texas with it, killing all sorts of stuff. Coyotes and nilgai and all sorts of animals have fallen to this rifle, and we've never had any issues with it, even with all the first generation parts. So the guys at Desert Tech said, please send your rifle in so we can do the updates. And I said, I don't really need any updates, but okay. They kept pressuring me to do it. And let me look on my phone. Here are the whopping updates that they performed on my gun. A new handguard. You'll see there's a cut right here. Grand Thumb brought up the fact that you cannot adjust the gas regulator on this gun without taking 2 screws out and taking your handguard off. So they put a relief cut in here so you could get to your gas selector. Makes sense, valid complaint. The only problem is I still can't make adjustments without taking my handguard off because I can't get a tool in there to rotate it, so I'm still taking my handguard off. Not a problem for me. I use OSS suppressors. They don't create a whole lot of back pressure. If the gun runs without a can, it'll run with one. So it was really easy for me to set the gas system on the gun, and I've never messed with it since. But they put that handguard on there. Has a new gas valve. So I guess there were some issues with the original gas valve, and they replaced that. Didn't have any problems with mine, ran just fine in the setup that you see here, but they replaced it because I know people were having problems with theirs. I did read those reports online. And they put a new wide extractor on the bolt. Those are the 3 changes they made to the gun. So I would love to tell you guys that this thing has just been a complete piece of junk for me, but the reality is it has not. I have only cleared, I think, one malfunction from this rifle using bore buster ammunition while on a hunt, and that's blunt nose 308, and it was a feeding issue. That blunt nose ammo I quit using because it malfunctioned in all sorts of 308 rifles that I used it in, so I stopped using the bore buster. Anytime you're using just a standard 308 ball round, 147 grain, in this case 168 grain Sierra Match King from Federal, it's gold medal match, the gun runs 100% reliably. Now the optic that I've put on this rifle is from Primary Arms. This is their Platinum series. It's a Raptor, and it's a variable power up to 8 power, and it has Japanese glass. The components of this thing are much higher standards than your typical Primary Arms products. Now, I'm not bagging on Primary Arms. I love their red dots and their affordable 1-4s and 1-6s. Used them, loved them, never had a problem with them. I even got one so beat up that the end of the objective side of the lens is almost like folded in on itself, and it still holds zero and works. But this is their premium line, and this thing comes to market at like $1,200 or more, so it's not an inexpensive optic, but for that money, you're getting a darn nice mil front focal plane optic. On it, I have a Tacticam. I originally bought my Tacticam cameras from a local archery shop, and I had problems with them, and I made a post on Instagram, which got the attention of Tacticam very quickly because I was complaining that the things were completely unreliable. They immediately responded, and one of the owners of the company contacted me and came out and told me how to walk through making some changes to the camera to get it up to speed. One of them was an early generation 5.0, and they replaced it for free for me. Then they even came out, they're out of Iowa, they actually came out to make sure for this hunt that we're getting ready to go on in Texas that everything was working, and they did bring 2 extra free cameras, just so you guys know. The 2 that I have on here now, I purchased at full retail price off Amazon, one from Amazon, one from my archery shop, and they brought 2 wide angle that we're going to try to use like we would normally use GoPros within our blind. And then we have this little remote control system, which they also gave me for free, which we'll see if it works or not. And we'll report back. And I told the guys, hey, thanks for the free stuff, but if it doesn't work, I'm going to tell my viewers. So we'll keep you guys posted. So far, everything's working. That's why we have it all set up here on the iPad. You can see what I see through the scope right now. The reason you're seeing a little bit of glare there is because of the backlighting I have. So this allows us to see downrange. This scope is intended for minute of man, and we actually took this thing out to our 1,000-yard range, and I was running drills with it, trying to get familiar with this setup for hunting purposes, so I could shoot from anywhere from 100, 150, all the way out to, I think, 500 yards. And I was just using my holdovers based on the ACSS reticle that Primary Arms developed. So that reticle really worked for me, going from different known ranges using my holdovers. I was spot on and able to hit the steel every single time. Hitting steel equates to a downed animal. Again, this is a hunting rifle for me. So we're going to try going from 100 to 150 to 200 to 400 to 500 using the ACSS reticle in the Primary Arms Platinum Series scope. That's all too easy. Didn't miss one. And we'll give you an idea of the accuracy that we can expect out of this gun using this particular scope, which has a very coarse reticle. Again, it's more or less for hunting and self-defense, which is the other application I think this rifle will be fine for. Not in a military sense, but in a civilian sense. And that reticle kind of gets us minute-to-man accuracy or minute-animal accuracy. So it's not something that have high magnification and a precision reticle to get the best groups out of it. The best groups I've ever seen out of an MDR hover right around 1.5 inches. I've never broken sub-MOA with the gun, never once, using multiple different types of ammo. Typically, especially with this scope, you're going to see around 2, maybe a little bit bigger groups than that, 2 inches or so, which for me, hunting animals, I don't shoot past 200 yards, works just fine. I've run this thing far too much. Let's do some shooting with the rifle.
First round, 500 yards, steel ringer, scope cam. Should say spotting scope cam.
All right, ready when you are.
Go ahead.
Magazine inserted. All right. All rounds connected. I kind of glossed over the gas regulator and the changes that they made to it. So Garand Thumb and even the guys over at Forgotten Weapons were having problems with their gas settings. The guns were just not gassed enough and they were having all sorts of malfunctions. The new one is a 6 position. So the original you had standard, adverse, and suppressed. This one you have 6 positions, so you can more effectively tune it to the ammunition and or suppressor you may be running. Now I ran mine just in the standard setting with the OSS can because there's very little to no back pressure with an OSS can. If you were going to put a high back pressure can on it, then you would want to run it on suppressed in the original plug because that would reduce the amount of gas going through the gas system. So with the new 6 position, you should have enough settings to get it to work with whatever ammunition that you're using. Now again, I have 2 magazines loaded completely up here. This is 147 grain ball. This is from Freedom Munitions, and it's not the most accurate, and it's just kind of range ammo. All right, I'm going to run 2 more magazines to this thing. It does get hot and the mirage starts to come up off the suppressor and obviously starts to affect what I see through the scope. The nice thing I've done here with mine is I've purchased the longer handguard, which recesses that suppressor about 1 inch into the handguard, gives me a little bit more real estate. Some of the guys complained about the original not having enough grip area, and I would agree, it was pretty stumpy. And the other thing that people were complaining about is the recoil of it being 308. Now I've shot Tavor 7s, I've shot RFBs, and of the 308 bullpups I've shot, this is actually the most docile. So if this one hurts you, don't even consider a Tavor 7 or an RFB because this one kicks less, at least in my opinion and in Jason's opinion. All right, so let's go ahead and load this bad boy up. Start the recorder on the Tacticam, charge the rifle, and we're just going to go ahead and beat on some steel plates here really quick. Take my glasses off because I will dot my eye. Let's see what we got here. Mr. Hostage Taker. Yeah, this Freedom's not the most accurate stuff. Have to go to some slightly larger targets. I'm not having real good luck with that hostage taker. It's flinging the lead all over the place.
Actually turned it. Power of the 308 turned that target.
Oh, so Jason's saying the power of the 308 kind of turned the hostage taker target, which I can definitely see that did occur. But still, with the gold medal match, I'd have far better luck. Now I'm just shooting at the big plates. And still, it can't hit. And that, guys, is the first malfunction I've ever seen. Holy cow. So check that out. It threw the port cover off. I've never seen this happen before. This is the first real malfunction we've had with it, and this is a doozy. Let's go ahead and make the weapon safe. I don't even know what you'd call that. So it looks like that's the spent case. For whatever reason, it didn't line up with the ejection chute, and live rounds kind of trying to go into the chamber right there. So let's go ahead and drop the magazine out. Let's see if we can correct this mess. Okay, yep, that was a live round. And that cartridge case is boogered up. So it crammed itself into the top part of the chamber, and is really in there. There we go. See if we can get it to let go of it now. That extractor, without the scissor, I'm gonna hurt myself here. That extractor is not letting go. That new white extractor is quite the doozy. All right, well, let's try this. Probably isn't gonna work, but you know, gotta try. Yeah, didn't think so. Wow, man. There you guys go. That is a real hard stoppage. Let's go ahead and pop this other one off. See if we can get that thing to push out without me busting my finger. There we go. All right. Wow. Let's see if that happens again. Finish off the magazine here. All right. Something. I know what, the bolt's got to be forward before I put this side plate on. I would imagine this is the frustration that some folks are feeling with their rifles, because that was a hot mess. Figures it happens after I have the updates done. I knew I shouldn't have sent it in, just kind of kidding. All right, let's see what happens now. Yep. All right, guys, that's kind of weird. We're gonna load up 2 more magazines and see if we can repeat that malfunction. Now, as you can see, the gun's really dry. Haven't cleaned it, but that shouldn't matter. I mean, gosh, what are we into? My BCM, over 4,000 rounds without so much as a drop of oil. Should work just fine. We'll be right back, guys. After that malfunction, I want to run 2 more magazines full of the Freedom munitions. Now again, I will say that with the 308 Freedom munitions, I've had problems in the past with my FALs and guns like that, but not very common. And I've never seen a malfunction like that in my MDR, but it's worth noting. I mean, that was a hard malfunction. While hunting, not that big of a deal. Military application, huge deal. All right. Run 2 more mags of the Freedom, see if we have any more issues. We are getting this gun nice and hot. I'm about to knock over that swinger. Okay. The last mag, I'm getting this thing toasty, toasty hot. All right, 20 rounds. And she is clear. All right. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap things up. So we caught an incredible malfunction with the MDR. That's one of 2 malfunctions that I remember this gun ever having. One of them was just a simple racking and clearing. It was with the bore buster ammunition we mentioned earlier in the video. And then today with the Freedom Munitions 308 147 grain stuff, we saw a spectacular malfunction where it kicked the port cover off the left side and we had 2 rounds stuck in there. It took tools to clear the malfunction. I can't say that I've ever seen that before. I don't even know if other YouTubers have experienced that before. So I'm not too concerned with it because of its intended application. If you're looking at an MDR as a go-to-war rifle, something like that, I don't think that's what its calling is. I think it's a hunting rifle. If you're looking for a short, handy, powerful rifle to climb in and out of tree stands with, going out of blinds, to walk, stalk game, things like that, hunting, I think this thing has great potential, and that's exactly how I've used it. Now, we are Patreon supported. That means we're viewer supported. We do not take any industry money. Our opinions are our own, and we'll say what we want, how we want, when we want to say it. And we can only do that through your support over on Patreon. Desert Tech doesn't pay us to make these videos. Primary Arms doesn't pay us to make these videos. Federal doesn't pay us to make these videos. We are supported by you. And if you'd like to continue to see this objective, honest commentary, please consider becoming a Patreon supporter. Also, please swing by and check out Copper Custom. Last but not least, we are Twitch gamers. So if you're a Patreon and you send us your gamer tag on the PSN network, we'll add you as a friend, and then you can join us in some live streams over on Twitch. We do like to play video games whenever we have some free time, which honestly isn't quite that often, but we do try to do it every month. Guys, thanks for 11 years of support. And now for the last 20 rounds of Freedom Munitions, 147 grain ball. We're gonna keep shooting that till we're out of it, or if we can replicate that malfunction. All right, guys, we'll talk to you soon. Let's see, all you gotta do is charge the rifle here. I think we got our Tacticam recording. Let's just try some shots here on the steel target at 100 yards. That was horrible. I am wobbling all over the place. And don't make fun of my white legs. Take that last round out of there. And that's it. We'll talk to you guys soon.